Are you going to say something?
I just want to test it.
Okay.
Oh, I think it's working. Hello? Yeah.
And then, do you know how to
And then mute. Hello?
Hello, presentation. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing.
turn it off? Off? Off, yes. To save the battery.
Hi, everyone. We're going to start soon. We go live in 5 minutes, so if everyone can take a seat, that would be great. Thank you. I'm walking with this.
Hey, Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How excited are you? This is the 54th annual Hunger Games. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. This is going to be wonderful. When speakers finish speaking, round of applause. If you hear something that you like, round of applause. If you hear something you don't like, round of applause. We're really excited that you're here today. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of students and staff and teachers watching this. So it's really important, and we're just so grateful for everyone's time and energy, and we are so excited. So thank you so much. And in a couple minutes, we're gonna start. So if you have to go to the washroom, wait, or go now and run back. Thanks.
You took my words there, Kevin. Isel, why don't I see you? Where are you? Oh, okay, good. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sherry Schwartz-Maltz. I'm the Manager of Media Relations and Issues Management for the TDSB. Welcome to International Day of Pink at the TDSB. I look forward to this event every single year because it's the day we say no to bullying and yes to a more inclusive and diverse world. It's also the day we honor our beloved 2S LGBTQIA+ community. Our theme today is the 35th anniversary of the coining of the term Two-Spirit And we're going to learn a lot more about that a little bit later. I'm so glad that we have amazing, wonderful special guest speakers with us here today. We have a live audience, and I'm hoping that there are thousands of our students that are watching online. Before we start, I'd like to ask Aisel Anami Oya from Claude Watson at Earl Hague Secondary School to come up and do the land acknowledgement. Aisel?
We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples.
Thank you. Thank you, Aisel. And I want to take a minute to thank the visual arts students from Claude Watson program at Earl Hague Secondary School who did all the incredible decorations. Aren't they beautiful? Looks beautiful. Thank you. They're all sitting up there. I also want to thank their incredible teacher, Nazi Sakovars, who helped and was supportive, and we're very appreciative. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Darian Westra, who's the TDSB's Indigenous Student Trustee. Darian.
Okay, good morning. I am very nervous to be here, but I'm very happy as well. I hope everyone's having a great morning. And good morning. My name is Darian Westra. I am the current sitting Indigenous Student Trustee. I represent RH King Academy, and I represent Indigenous students, but not just Indigenous students, but all students throughout the board. We are gathered here today to honor the 35th anniversary of the term Two-Spirit, and to celebrate the International Day of Pink. The International Day of Pink is a day to stand against bullying, homophobia, and transphobia, as well to celebrate diversity and inclusion among 2SL LGBTQIA+ identities. Today's day of action is to honor those who identify of Two-Spirit. We cannot be honoring and celebrating without knowing the definition of Two-Spirit. Contemporarily, Two-Spirit has become an umbrella term for Indigenous individuals that fall within a wide variety of the spectrum. However, not everybody who is an Indigenous and queer uses the term Two-Spirit. Give me a second here. It should be noted that typically only Indigenous people should be the only active group in the world that should be using the term Two-Spirit. Indigenous people have been here for centuries. Since 1965, our voices became limited. But today is a day where we ensure our voices are heard, especially those of the oppressed. Today is to ensure the safety of Two-Spirit individuals and everyone among the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. I would now like to introduce our wonderful Director of Education, Mr. Clayton Latouche.
Good morning, everyone. Wish he hadn't said wonderful, because that gives expectations I need to live up to. And I'll hold this. It's good that we're here today to talk about a board priority around belonging. And it gives us an opportunity to reinforce the expectation and the hope and the opportunity we have to ensure that every student belongs. And that includes the purpose that we're here for today. I love watching around the room and seeing a room filled with pink. I've never seen the boardroom as full of pink as today, and it's wonderful to see. And it gives us the opportunity to stand up, as we've heard, against discrimination, and to celebrate the diversity that makes our schools and our communities stronger. To the TWIS LGBTQIA+ students, staff, and families, know that the board stands with you, and that when we say belong, it means all students, staff, and families. Your identities and experiences and your voices matter, and you deserve to feel safe, valued, and celebrated in your schools and in our communities. And that is the board's commitment. The theme we've begun learning since this morning, and thank you to our student trustee for teaching us about what Two-Spirit means and to whom it applies and how it applies. And we all have the opportunity to continue to learn. And so today's theme calls our attention to the importance of affirming the intersectional identities of members of our communities, including Indigenous students and staff. So I've been reflecting a little bit on what it means to be an ally. And allyship is not a label that we give to ourselves. It is a responsibility that we carry and live out through our words and through our actions. It means listening, it means learning, and it means standing up against discrimination in all its forms, and it means creating spaces that create a feeling of belonging, create a sense of belonging, and the knowledge to know that we all do belong. We don't call ourselves allies, we do the work necessary because it is the right thing to do. And so as we wear pink today, let's remember that inclusion isn't just about today. Our allyship will become reality when we leave. And it's about the culture that we build each and every day. So at the TDSB, we're committed to using education to foster not just welcoming schools, but inclusive communities where everyone, no matter their identity, can learn, grow, and thrive. That's our commitment. And it's my pleasure to introduce our chair, Nathan Shan.
Thank you, Director Latouche. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure and a privilege and honor for me to be here, gathering together with everyone who's in the boardroom, but also thousands and thousands of our students gathered at assemblies, gathered in classroom, to mark this very, very important day at TDSB, the International Day of Pink. Today we gather to celebrate the resilience of Two-Spirit LGBTQIA+ students, staff, family, and community members. It's a day to mark the resilience and celebrate the resilience, but also a day to focus and make sure that we are preparing for more work ahead. As we honor the 35th anniversary of the term Two-Spirit, we reflect on the progress we made. But we always have to keep in context the measurement of progress with the magnitude of the problem. There's a lot of work to be done to address homophobia, transphobia, and all other different forms of discrimination and exclusion that our 2S LGBTQIA+ communities face. This milestone reminds us of the importance of recognizing and affirming diverse identities within communities, including and especially Indigenous voices. True inclusion means building an environment where everyone feels they can belong, but more importantly, that they can thrive. We at TDSB remain committed to ensuring that every individual feels safe, respected, and valued at our schools. Fostering inclusive spaces is not just a goal. It is a continuous journey for us as a board, but individually for each of us as a trustee. We have to commit to that journey, and we have to be working hard each and every day to advance ourselves. It requires us to actively listen, the most important thing, and then reflect. Before learning, we need to reflect, and then after we reflect, and as we reflect, we have to continuously commit to action that must extend beyond today. Let us carry the day of pink let us carry the Day of Pink spirit into our daily lives and continue to champion inclusivity and respect in all of our spaces, from classrooms to boardrooms. Together, we can create a future where every student, regardless of their identity, can learn and succeed, but they are also able to bring their full, authentic self to our spaces. Thank you all for being part of the celebration today. But more importantly, thank you for being here to affirm our commitment. In today's context, we see increasingly more challenges as we strive towards inclusion. We see it here in our country, Canada, we see it south of border, we see it everywhere. So this is a time where we have to double our energy and double our commitment to proceed further towards true inclusion. So thank you everyone for joining us today. At this point, it's my privilege and honor to invite Her Worship Mayor Olivia Chow to join us. She's unfortunately unable to be here in person, but has made an every effort to be here through a video conference call. So I would like to invite Mayor Chow to bring greetings on behalf of City of Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I am very proud to join all of you today and to share in and celebrate and be open-minded and accept each other's differences. This year, the Day of Pink is honoring the 35th anniversary of the term Two-Spirit. It happened here in Canada, in Winnipeg. Lost during Canada's colonial past is a term that brings back ancient traditions of seeing people for who they are and calling all to be important to the community. As Mayor of Toronto, I know stories like this are not distant history. They're here in our city and in our communities. As Mayor of Toronto, I know stories like this are not, it needs to be repeated. We need to understand it, to know the fights that have been fought, the progress that have been won. They are woven into the streets we walk on, the spaces we gathered in, and the lives of the people in this room. And that is why the work of the Day of Pink is so vital, because we don't just commemorate our culture, our community, and our history, we celebrate it. Every day is an opportunity to honor those who paved the way for inclusion, respect, and diversity. By learning about our community's rich history and struggles, we can all create spaces where authenticity is celebrated. I'm so glad you're going to be hearing more about this from John Seboy and from Lynden George, an award-winning artist and storytelling. Stories is what make us. Story is what bring us together. It's not just the individual stories. It's a story that reflects who we are. And as we hear these stories, let us think about what our stories and our collective stories are. And when we come together and meet each other, truly see each other, it's so much easier to get rid of misconception, division, hatred. There's nothing more beautiful than being authentic, genuine, and be who you are. And in this Day of Pink, let's reflect on the past, build a brighter future, and say to each other, let's have the courage, let's support each other, let's be empathetic, and give the confidence that we can be who we are. So let's celebrate visibility in all its forms, acknowledge, respect, and listen to each other. Raise our voices for those who need our support the most. And together, let's keep Toronto a city where we care for each other, where we support each other, where we say that everyone belongs. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce a performance by a group from Kapapamachakawe, the Wandering Spirit School in Toronto, the Moon Sisters.
Ani Ginny Indigenous.
Ani Maya Dishnakas.
Chimigwech for inviting us to participate in this event today.
We are the Moon Sisters. We are a drum group from Kapamachakwe Wandering Spirit School.
We will be singing 2 songs for you today.
We will be singing Strong Moon Song, which reminds us to empower ourselves and stay strong.
And the 7 Grandfathers song, which reminds us to live with love, wisdom, humility, truth, courage, honesty, and respect.
Miigwech.
Was that not an incredible performance? Wow, beautiful, beautiful performance. It's now my pleasure to introduce the pink team from Toronto Police Services, who will say a few words. Welcome Officers Cheryl Taylor and Staff Superintendent Lisa Crooker.
Right here? Sure. Good. Good morning, everyone. What an incredible performance that was. So I am Superintendent Lisa Crooker with the Toronto Police Service, and I proudly serve as the uniform co-chair to the Toronto Police Service's 2S LGBTQIA Community Consultative Committee. I'm also the Senior Officer Advisor of our Pride Internal Support Network. This morning, I'm here on behalf of Chief of Police Myron Demkew, and he sends his regrets. What a wonderful day of pink it is today. This is a fantastic event, and I want to thank the Toronto District School Board, as well as the Day of Pink team for welcoming us here. The Toronto Police Service is a proud supporter of the International Day of Pink. I know a lot of hard work and organization goes into planning this and preparing this event every day. each year. Looking around the room, that hard work is clearly on display. This year's theme is reemergence, honoring the brave actions of the 2S LGBTQIA+ activists who have fought and continue to fight for more inclusive communities. I have witnessed a big change in the attitudes and laws towards the community. As an organization, the Toronto Police Service has made our efforts to make it a better relationship with the community, and together we all can. I'm excited to hear all of our marvelous guest speakers, and just so you know, the Toronto Police Service is always serious about uniting against discrimination, bullying, and hate, and together we can make that difference. Thank you, Cheryl.
Hi, everyone. I'm PC Cheryl Taylor. I'm one of the 2S LGBTQI+ liaison officers for Toronto Police. And with Lisa, I serve on our Pride SN as director. I'd like to take a minute and just speak about bullying for 2 seconds. First of all, one, it's never, ever, ever okay to be bullied, ever. If you can, and you have somebody to speak to, like a trusted adult, like a parent, an aunt, an uncle, a best friend, somebody you can speak to, please do so. If you don't, I would like to direct you to a service, the Kids Help Phone. You can dial 1-800-668-6868 and speak to somebody there live 24/7. If you're not comfortable calling, you can text 686868, or if you want to spell it out, easier to remember, connect, and it will put you in touch with somebody that you can speak to, again, 24/7. Just to know, if you are being bullied, you don't have to go through this alone. That's all. Rob. It's been a day.
Yeah, thanks everyone for having us here. It's marvelous to take part in this event. Slay John, it's good to see you again. And sorry, walking in a couple minutes late, but it's wonderful to be here. And thank you very much. Just to echo what Cheryl said, if you are being bullied, please text 686868, the word connect. It will immediately put you in touch with somebody who can help. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheryl, Robert, and Lisa from TPS. So now we're going to meet our very special guest speakers. First, we're going to hear from John Syliboy. John is an Indigenous leader and founder of the Wabanaki Two-Spirit Alliance. He's also a consultant, researcher, and policy analyst, and works in social and cultural development, health and education policy, and research for Atlantic Indigenous communities, especially for Two-Spirited and Indigenous 2S LGBTQIA+. John is going to talk to us about the meaning of Two-Spirit, the history of the term, why it's important for our students to know about Two-Spirited individuals, and why it's especially important in today's world to understand more. Then we'll hear from Lynden George. Lynden is a member of the Chippewas of Kettle and Stony Point First Nations. He's made presentations on Indigenous matters at local, provincial, and international platforms, and is a recognized storyteller. Lynden will spend a few minutes with our student Rosie, who designed this incredible t-shirt, and they're going to discuss why Indigenous art is so special and so important. So let's meet John.
Hola, Leo. Waliksipug, Nindeluisi John R. Syliboy, a Weda Bexi, Essesoni, a Millbrook. Nwigi, Jibuktuk, I will das one loim, said Begis New York, I will das the tele lane, a name Uji Pulue Exclusion, a Pulue Gulnug, a Pulue Guisiska, Pulue Gigmana, Imuji tele dan. My name is John R. Syliboy, and I acknowledge the fact that I'm here in not only Indigenous territory, but also territory of other species that are kin to ourselves as humans. We acknowledge them. I acknowledge our people that are here in the table as well. I'm from Millbrook and Eskasoni First Nation, and I'm here to share a little bit about what is Two-Spirit as a person being and living as a Two-Spirit. One of the biggest things about being Two-Spirit is the fact that it's not new being Two-Spirit. It's something that we've celebrated in our communities, not only in the last 35 years with the term being introduced as an English pan-Indigenous term, but being Two-Spirit has been an ancestral knowledge based on ancestral ways of being long before even contact period. So that's one part to it. So in one, let's say, little paragraph, I can say that Two-Spirit is a pan-Indigenous term. Hi, everybody. And we acknowledge the fact that we are people that come from various cultural settings and nations. And so we have various terms for Two-Spirit, but the English term is that. Is it a rattle? Sorry, back on. So Two-Spirit in itself, let's switch this up. Thank you. Great. So Two-Spirit itself, if we look at the term, it means the person that's Indigenous talks about their sexuality, their gender identity, and then also how it relates to being, I think it's my ring. All right, that's good. It's being Indigenous, but also it incorporates your being as sexuality and gender diversity and your identity. But it's also important to acknowledge the fact that it's related to your way of being and your cultural background. So it's your place and it's your ancestral land as well. So that's very important. Now the term came back, or what we're talking about, sorry. And as we're talking about reemergence, about being Two-Spirit, we have ancestral knowledge about being Two-Spirit, but then there are terms specific for nations that may have their own language. Now, not every nation across not only Canada, but Turtle Island has the term, so we start using Two-Spirit. So it's an excellent way to communicate and share knowledge around Indigenous perspectives and worldviews around gender identity, sexuality, and of course, anything that has to do with our spirituality as Indigenous people. So that's a principal component about being Two-Spirit. The other is, why is it important? Why do we celebrate that? So the importance, of course, is that in reemergence of our worldviews, and of course our perspectives around, let's say, sexuality, and the emergence of even our understandings around diversity and gender, but also spirituality and the connection to our ways of being and celebrating who we are as gender diverse people. We understand that the term for people in our communities have a term that they could use besides what we have for LGBTQIA+, but we also have terms that are evolving, and Two-Spirit has brought us the opportunity to bring back to the schools and to our communities what is Two-Spirit and further our knowledge around, let's say, using language terms. So for example, in Mi'kmaq, where I come from, in Mi'kmaqi, we share the word Edwijijamijuinug. That's a new term that we just reintroduced, or just, in fact, introduced into our culture, so that we understand that languages can be resurfaced to identify the contemporary wordings such as Two-Spirit. So we have an answer what gender and diversity is, but we also understand that there's evolving ways in which people talk about their gender and diversity through art, through music, through language, through celebration. The most important thing is for students is to identify yourself in a safe way at school, in our community, and at all public spaces. So that's critical. And be proud of who you are. So for the Day of Pink, for example, we acknowledge Two-Spirit as part of the reemergent. Is this getting better? No. And what we're trying to understand is how we connect the diversity of being Canadian and include Two-Spirit in that process. So part of the conversation is to include 2S as part of the acronym. That's important and that's critical to celebrate our identity, diversity, and especially the authenticity of every single person that's in this room, in this Toronto District School Board, and everyone in Canada. So that's critical. The one other thing that I'll share about being Two-Spirited is that for the Day of Pink, pink is a color. but it's beyond that. It's not just the color that we're looking at. We're looking at how identity relates to our culture, our places where we live, and also how we can celebrate this as a part of ongoing cultural identity emerging through urban settings, through fashion, through emerging music. Shilazan Leroux has been traveling with me talking about Day of Pink, and they're doing drag shows. That's an excellent way of producing and sharing identity. So I thank Shilazan, who's not here with me, but I honor the fact that through their bravery and courage, they're able to expand what we understand as Two-Spirit, and that's part of what the Day of Pink is. Thank you very much. Walalio. A little challenging with this. Thanks.
Sit down.
Buzo ani the Wakagisi Meguan, Disnakas, Anishinaabe Ojokwe. So what I've just said is I've given you my real name, which is Longfeather in the English translation, and I'm Anishinaabe. So I'm part of the community of the nation, this territory, this beautiful territory that we're in today. To my relative, John, I want to say the problem with the microphone is your magnificent Two-Spirit energy you're bringing. It just, this technology cannot handle it. And Chief Miigwech for sharing all the wisdom that you do about our existence as a Two-Spirit, Two-Heart Indigenous queer folk. I'm very honored and very humbled here to be part of the conversations in International Day of Pink and to meet our relative here who has some incredible storytelling that's happening through art. I do want to say that art comes in many different ways and many different fashions, and particularly for Indigenous people. But what's most important for us as Indigenous queer Two-Spirit, Two-Heart people is that we continue to tell our stories, continue to allow people to witness our truth through whatever venue it is that we're telling our story or sharing our existence. Because had it not been for our strengthening resilience on the attempts of genocide of Indigenous people here in Canada and the United States, our stories like the ones our relative John has shared, which my relative is going to share here and which I will share, may not be here today. So Chi Miigwech for this opportunity to be able to share those. So I'm going to allow my relative to talk about and speak about some of this incredible storytelling. Again, storytelling comes in many different ways. It can come through fashion, it can come through painting, come through beading. Beading is not one of the gifts that I have. And important to know that in that storytelling, whether it be through music, whether it be through painting or drawing, that we're sharing very important pieces about who we are as Indigenous people. And for Two-Spirit people, a lot of times it's sharing very intimate details about our existence. So I'm very excited to hear from my Two-Spirit relative here about the story that they're going to share with us.
Sigoli, Rosie Niyukyats, Anyotaka Nimketsiota. My name is Rosie. I am Oneida Nation of the Thames, and I'm Turtle Clan. These here are a few of my artworks of wampum bracelets, but they represent the traditional wampum belt making and process. I designed the artwork on the back of the pink shirts today, which I am so thankful that everyone's wearing. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm super honored to be here today because I would never have imagined, myself having a voice this strong and being in front of, all of these amazing people who've made a change and made a difference in my life and a lot of students and people's lives as well. So thank you for having me. This is very special to me. So I think one of the things that I really hold close to my heart is art and visual art. And I write songs and play music. I don't drum, but the drumming today was amazing. It's always amazing. But I am an artist. I love to create. I love to write down my emotions and draw them and paint them in a whole bunch of different mediums. And one of my favorite ways to process my emotions and experiences is by creating art pieces, like using beads and thread and making beadwork. So each of these pictures and these wampum bracelets represents a different thing that's important to me. So the one I have in my hand is, this was my first wampum bracelet I've ever made. And the project that we were doing for these were making promises to ourselves about things that we wanted to keep close to our heart and things we wanted to achieve. And so this represents my younger brother, Aiden. He's 8 years old. And I've had a mixed relationship with him over the couple of years, but my promise was that I would be able to support him through his life. For example, he loves music, so I drew piano keys with his favorite colors. And he loves the color blue, and he loves Minecraft. So some of the stuff he likes is in here, and he's super into nature. And I'm jealous of that, but he loves exploring, and he's an amazing kid. So one of my promises was to support him and be there for him and kind of help him become who he is and to support him with that. This one right here, this one with the turtle one, this is my favorite one. I'm Turtle Clan, and this was a little bit of a difficult one to make, only because I was kind of figuring out my own identity while creating this. So I was struggling to figure out in what way I would represent the turtle, in what way I would represent myself in this. And so adding, I guess, the silhouettes of the turtle really helped me fill that void where it's like I can be that silhouette. I can picture anything in there. And this one's just my favorite. It's very beautiful, I think. Yeah, thank you. The butterfly one right here, thank you. This one is also super special because this one represents transformation. And butterflies are often used in that context because they're transformers. They're kind of like nature's magic, nature's way of showing creation changing over time, and change is constant. So especially growing up without having a lot of connection to my culture and knowing who I was and what I'm meant to do, I looked at the butterfly as a way of being secured in that I am able to be whoever I want, and kind of it takes a process. And so making this butterfly kind of helps me realize that transformation is part of the getting to your destination, and it's continuous. It's kind of endless. So I like that one as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Chimi Guach. What my relative has done is allowed us to witness a very important part of her journey and existence here as Indigenous queer two-spirit, two-heart. So Chimi Guach, thank you for that. It's very difficult following these colonial kind of timelines, and we have a very short period of time. But what I wanted to be able to say is your work is so incredibly important because for the rest of existence, we will be able to understand your journey through your artwork. And that to all of the students out there, remember that there are so many different mediums, which your story is important, your existence is important, and find that art, find that gift that is within you and tell your story and share your story and allow for us to be able to witness part of this journey. The two skirts that you see behind you are skirts that tell part of my part of my story. In fact, what I'm wearing is what I refer to as traditional two-spirit, two-heart Indigenous queer regalia. Masculine meets the feminine. So I'm wearing the masculine shirt, the feminine skirt. And so what we're learning along our journey as two-spirit Indigenous queer folks is in the spirit work that we do, because two-spirit, two hearts Indigenous queer folks, Indigenous people, everything that we do is very spiritual. So I believe that all the work that our relative has done here is very spiritually inclined. But we also have roles and responsibilities as two-spirit Indigenous queer two-heart people. And one of those roles and responsibilities that we carry is to be able to gather people. And so it's not unimaginable for me that it's been two-spirit, two-heart people that have brought together thousands of people to talk about today our existence and who we are, picking up our bundles. One of the roles and responsibilities that we have through spirit work is to be able to acknowledge all of those ancestors who were two-spirit, two-heart, who were warriors. And so what I'm going to do briefly in closing, and I know this is going to surprise the team here, is it's part of my responsibility to acknowledge all my two-spirit, two-heart ancestors who have gone into the spirit world. And so the song was gifted to me from my brother, and it was gifted to him. And it's very much similar to, I want to acknowledge the great song that was shared by our relatives, the Strong Woman song that was shared this morning. That was a great way to set the tone and the mood for us today. And so what I'm going to do is also share a warrior song that's been gifted and carried on through my family. But before I do that, thank you so much for that gift that you brought forward. So this song is an honor song. And as we do in Indigenous people, when we play an honor song, we stand and we acknowledge all of those folks. So, Chimigwach.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Rosie and our incredible guest speakers. Beautiful words, a lot of learning for all of us. Now it's my honor to introduce to you our System Superintendent of Indigenous Education, Tanya Senk.
Chimigwech, Tanse Tanche, Bojo, Ani. Good morning, everybody. Kendasa Wunkwe and Dishnakaz. I am Red River Métis, Cree, and Saulteaux, known as the Three Sister Nations people of the Buffalo. My relations are at Kowalsis First Nation, Treaty 4 in the Qu'Appelle Valley in Saskatchewan, and the Red River in Manitoba. I was born in Toronto and actually graduated from the former Toronto Board, so I've been around for a while. I want to say a great chimigwech to the outstanding Ogichtakwe, the Moon Sisters, and everyone who's here, and for the knowledge sharing, the great Indigenous knowledge sharing from John Sillyboy and Lynden George. A chimigwech hi hi from the bottom of my heart. My heart is full and our spirits are lifted. Today is the International Day of Pink, and collectively we stand up against discrimination towards 2S LGBTQIA+ communities. This year, as was said previously, we are honoring the 35th anniversary of the term Two-Spirit. As Indigenous peoples, we have honored Two-Spirit people long, long before colonization, since time immemorial. We have always been inclusive and have created those spaces of belonging from our teachings and from the Indigenous knowledge that has been passed down from generation to generation. Together, we are standing up against all forms of bullying, homophobia, transphobia, and all forms of discrimination. As a Toronto District School Board, we stand behind creating inclusive spaces that are identity affirming and culturally safer for those spaces of belonging and thriving. Recognizing and honoring Two-Spirit people is essential in our journey towards truth and reconciliation, and in healing and restoring our Indigenous communities. The TRC's final report released in 2015, it has been 10 years since. Yes, it has, a decade. The TRC uncovered the impacts of residential school system in Indigenous communities, and the 94 calls to action urge all Canadians to engage in reconciliation through education, as was said by the late Murray Sinclair. Education got us into this mess, and education will lead us forward. The calls particularly emphasize this healing and the intergenerational trauma that has been afflicted upon us by colonization and ongoing colonialism. Through education, we are addressing systemic violence and disproportionate harm experienced by Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit people. We are reclaiming the rightful place of Two-Spirit people historically and in today's contemporary society. I want to thank Mayor Chow, the Director, Clayton Latouche, Chair Trustee Shan, and Indigenous Student Trustee Darian Westra for your powerful words, and to the organizers, Sherry Schwartz-Maltz and Kevin Doe. I want to acknowledge and honor the incredibly talented students of Kapapa Machkwe in the secondary program and the elementary program. Kapapa Machkwe is an Indigenous-focused school, K-12, and was started by the late Elder Pauline Shirt, who passed on to the spirit world almost a year ago, and also to her late then husband, Elder Vern Harper. The school was started in 1976 as a redress to the residential school system and following after Indian control of Indian education from 1972. I want to thank Rosie Yardy for these amazing, beautiful t-shirts. And also your beautiful wampum bracelets. I have always been inspired by you, Rosie. I also want to thank their incredible educators, Marie Gadet, Claire Sampson, Michelle Dubrow, Tasha Smith, Vice Principal Adrian Plumley, centrally assigned Vice Principal Emily Wadsworth, and the Indigenous graduation coach, Emerald Sliwa. I hope I didn't forget anybody. So Chimigwech, hi hi, and we stand strong and tall with our heads up. And I'm inviting up the incredible Moon Sisters again to sing a beautiful song. It is the Seven Grandfathers Song, also known as the Seven Sacred Teachings, and also the Seven Grandmother Teachings. These are incredible Ogichita Kwe. Please give them a round of applause.
What an incredible performance. Can we have another round of applause, please? So we've come to the end of our Pink Day at the TDSB today. Let's celebrate Pink Day every day. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Wonderful support of the UIEC and Tanya and you guys and our amazing guest speakers. Thank you. And the leadership team of the TDSB. Personally, where's Kevin? There's Kevin. Kevin is the director of the show. I hope you're watching York Mill students because you have one incredible teacher. He and I have done Pink Day for years together. So thank you, Kevin. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful Pink Day.
Get the picture. I'm gonna get out of the way.